Good morning. I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is the regularly scheduled Executive Committee meeting. The date is February 26, 2019. My name is Jacob Fry. I am the chair of this committee, and I am joined by council members Gordon, Jenkins, and Johnson. We have two items that are on the agenda for today. The first is an appointed position in the Health Department for the Director of Office of Violence Prevention. Do we have anybody here that to present for that item?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mayor Fry and members of the Executive Committee. My name is Rick Bowes. I'm the Interim Compensation Classification and HRIS Manager in the Human Resources Department. We are here today to ask that you please consider approving a new appointed position in the Health Department, Director of Office of Violence Prevention. Reporting to the Commissioner of Health, the proposed position will oversee the new Office of Violence Prevention, which is being established to address violence as a public health concern and other specified violence-related functions of the Minneapolis Health Department. In addition, the position will coordinate violence prevention efforts across the city enterprise. We ask that you please adopt the findings that the position meets criteria in Section 20.1010 of the Minneapolis Code of Ordinances, City Council to establish appointed positions. We ask that you please approve the appointed position of Director, Office of Violence Prevention, evaluated at 513 total points and allocated to grade 11. We ask that you please approve a salary schedule for the position, which has a salary range of $94,551 to $112,084 in accordance with the adopted compensation plan for appointed officials effective February 26, 2019. We ask that you please refer this matter to the City Council for consideration. And with your permission, I would like to turn the presentation over to the Commissioner of Health, Gretchen Musicant, to expand on the role of the position and answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Boats. Ms. Musicant. And I'll note that Council President Bender has joined us.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. When the City Council adopted the budget for 2019 in December, part of that budget was to create this office, and so we have been moving at due speed to begin to implement that. One of our first actions was to meet with leaders within the Human Resources Department just to explore together with them what kind of a position was this. Should this be a manager position or should it be an appointed director position that would report to me? And because of the responsibilities of a steering committee, the enterprise-wide responsibilities, along with the internal operational responsibilities, we all agreed that it should be an appointed position, and so that's why we're coming to you today. I'll stand for any questions you have.
Thank you, Director. Any questions for Director Musicant? Doesn't look like it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So there are four subparts to this particular motion, but it's to approve the appointed position in the Health Department for Director of Office of Violence Prevention. I'll go ahead and move that item. Any discussion? Council Vice President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess, Ms. Musicant, my one question would be how soon do you anticipate having the formal office up and running?
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Councilmember Jenkins, it's my understanding that this will need to go to council and then be sent to Ways and Means and go back to council again. So we'll have to wait for that to happen, but then we will have the job description already created and be ready to post it soon after that. We have also enlisted the help of a consultant to help us make sure that we are moving forward with some of the other expectations, getting the steering committee appointed and that sort of thing, even before this position is filled. So we're working at the duties at the same time that we are moving forward with filling this position.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on that item? All those in approval, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no, and that item passes. Item number 2 are appointed positions in the city clerk's office. There are also 4 subparts to it. Is there anyone here to present? Mr. Bowes.
Mayor Fry and members of the Executive Committee, once again, my name is Rick Bowes. I'm the Interim Compensation, Classification, and HRIS Manager in the Human Resources Department. We're here today to ask that you please consider approving an additional appointed position in the City Clerk's office, Assistant City Clerk. We also request that you please approve a reevaluation of that job classification of Assistant City Clerk, now evaluated at 578 total points and allocated to grade 12. Reporting to the City Clerk, these positions are responsible for direction of a business line in the City Clerk's office, including acting as the responsible authority and data compliance official, the Chief Elections Official, or Chief Legislative Officer. Each Assistant City Clerk position is expected to manage any of the areas in the department, in addition to their specific business line. All positions develop strategic goals with the City Clerk Council/Council leadership, and develop, implement, and maintain programs to implement these goals. They will manage staff and be involved in budget, management, administrative revenue management, operational, and strategic planning decisions. We ask that you please adopt the findings that the proposed position meets the criteria in Section 20.1010 of the Minneapolis Code of Ordinances, City Council, to establish appointed positions. We ask that you please approve the appointed position of Assistant City Clerk, evaluated at 578 total points, and allocated to grade 12. We ask that you please approve the salary schedule for the positions, which has a range of $106,839 to $126,651 in accordance with the adopted compensation plan for appointed officials effective February 26, 2019. We ask that you please refer this matter to the City Council for consideration. And with your permission, I would like to turn the presentation over to Casey Clark, City Clerk, to expand on the role of the position and answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Bowes. Mr. Carl.
Mr. Mayor, members of the Executive Committee, the original legislative charter for Minneapolis, which was enacted by the state legislature in 1881 and as subsequently amended, provided for the position of Assistant City Clerk to aid the City Clerk in the performance of official duties, particularly with respect to the making and preservation of official records and support for the standing committees of City Council. So from the very beginning of this city, there's been an Assistant City Clerk. The appointment of the Assistant City Clerk was vested in the City Clerk, but is subject to confirmation by an official act or vote of the City Council. The position of Assistant City Clerk was retained in the first Home Rule Charter of the city, which was adopted by voters in 1920. In 1986, through special legislation that was enacted by the state legislature, a new position was created in the city of Minneapolis entitled Director of Elections to be appointed by the City Clerk. The creation of that position recognized the growing demand for full-time attention to the administration of elections and related work in the state's largest municipality. That position was later reclassified as an Assistant City Clerk, subject to the same appointment process. The duties of the base classification have significantly evolved over the years. Today, the Assistant Clerk remains the principal deputy to the City Clerk in terms of the overall management of the City Council and Clerk Department. And in addition, as Mr. Boas mentioned, the Assistant City Clerk is also director of a specific business line within the Office of City Clerk. There are currently 3 distinct business lines: elections and voter services, records and information management, and legislative support and administration. Grace Walk-LaRoach was appointed City Clerk and Director of Elections and Voter Services and confirmed by the Council in May of 2012. Kristen Romelhoff was appointed Assistant City Clerk, Director of Records and Information Management and confirmed by the City Council in May 2015. In 2014, the City Council confirmed the interim designation of Jackie Hansen to Assistant City Clerk with responsibility for leading legislative support and administration. The request, as Mr. Boas pointed out, would reclassify the base position as described in the briefing materials. It also formally adds the third assistant clerk position to the department, using an existing funded full-time position that's been vacant for the past year. This would enable the city clerk to appoint the third assistant city clerk position and bring that appointment forward in a future cycle for formal consideration by the city council. These related requests then formalize the operating structure we've had in place for several years and provides an assistant city clerk as the director of each major business line in the clerk's office, ensuring business continuity and succession planning across the entire department. I'm happy to respond to any questions the committee might have.
Thank you, Mr. Carl. Are there any questions for our city clerk?
Thank you.
Doesn't look like it. Thank you. I'll go ahead and move this one as well. Any discussion on item number 2? Seeing none, all those in approval say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. That item passes, and seeing that we have no further items on the agenda, we are adjourned. Thank you.